Hello friends. So in the previous video we have discussed about the old tax rates which was there in the interim budget 2019, and also we have discussed about the insertion of section 115 BAC, wherein we have discussed about the new tax rates. So in this video we are going to discuss about the conditions which are required to be satisfied in order to claim the deductions, that is claim the benefit under section 115 BAC. Now what are the conditions? We can abbreviate the conditions as PLED. Now what do you mean by P over here? P over here means no perquisites or allowances will be allowed as deductions. While calculating the total income under section 115 BAC, no perquisites or allowances will be allowed as deduction. Then what is L indicating over here? No losses will be set off. Now what do you mean by no losses will be set off? The meaning over here is that no losses which are carried forward from the previous year, no losses of previous year will be set off. Now L I need to explain again. And what do you mean by L over here? L over here indicates no set off of carried forward losses. Carried forward losses of previous year or depreciation of previous year relating to those deductions which are not allowed. No set off of carried forward losses. Carried forward losses of previous year or depreciation of previous year relating to those deductions which are not allowed while computing total income under section 115 BAC. Okay, so no set off of carried forward losses of the previous year or no set off of depreciation of the previous year which is relating to the deductions which are not allowed as deduction in the total income under section 115 BAC. This is first point. And the second point over here is that no set off of losses under house property with any head of income. Now what does it mean over here? It means that set off of losses which was previously set off of losses of house property which was previously allowed as set off with any other head of income. Now under section 115 BAC, losses under the head house property can only be set off with income under the head house property. It cannot be set off with any head of income. Any other head of income it cannot be allowed as set off. Now these are the 2 points in L. Now what do you mean by E over here? E over here is no exemptions or deductions. No exemptions or deductions. Now, what are those exemptions or deductions which are not allowed? Now, in this case, the first point over here is uh, no deduction of interest on interest of the loan on self-occupied or vacant land. Interest on loan of self-occupied or vacant land. Now, what do you mean over here? Over here, we have said no set-off of losses and under house property with any other head of income. Over here, we are saying no exemptions or deductions. That is, no interest on loan of self-occupied or vacant land. Now, what does this mean over here? This means that interest on loan of rental property will be allowed to be set off against income from house property. However, interest on loan of self-occupied property can be set off with income of house property. However, it cannot be carried forward. Interest on loan of self-occupied property, cannot be carried forward and set off. However, interest on loan for rental property can be carried forward over here. Can be carried forward, and however, it can be set off only against the income under the head house property. So over here, there are two things over here. Let me take a note over here. Interest on loan for house property. Now, let us divide house property into self-occupied and rental. Now, if there is a loss over here, then this loss can be set off against HP. That is, can be set off against house property, income against house property. Now, this loss cannot be carried forward. This loss cannot be carried forward. It is available as set off only in the year in which the loss is incurred. And loss in rental property is also allowed to be set off only against house property. However, this loss can be carried forward. This loss can be carried forward. This loss cannot be carried forward. This loss can be carried forward. It is clearly said over here. Now, if losses is relating to those deductions which are not allowed as deductions while computing total income under section 115 BAC, that is interest on loan of self-occupied property and vacant land will not be allowed to be carried forward. However, of rental property can be allowed to be carried forward. Okay. So, the next exemption which is not allowed. Now, there are a list of exemptions. Let me note it down over here. The second one is 10(5), that is LTA. LTA is not allowed. Third one is 10(13)A, that is HRA. HRA is also not allowed from now onwards. And the fourth one is 10(14), that is all other allowances. All other allowances except travel allowance, except daily allowance, except conveyance allowance, and the last one is all allowances for tour of business. Means travel allowance if it is used for commuting between the place of residence to the place of duty, it will be allowed as deduction. Daily allowance, that is, it's a charge incurred by the employee on account of absence from his normal place of duty. That is, daily allowance will also be allowed. Conveyance allowance granted to meet the expenditure on conveyance in performance of the office duties. And all other allowances which is allowed while incurring on tour for business purposes. Okay, so all other allowances are not allowed except TA, DA, CA and allowances for tour of business. Then 1017, that is allowances of MPs and MLAs is also not allowed from now onwards. Then there is 1032, that is allowances for income of minor. Previously, if the income of minor was added to the parent's income, then there was a small deduction which was allowed under section 1032 for reducing the income of the minor, that is expenses for the purpose of that. Now that is also not allowed over here. Then 10AA, that is the benefit which is given to the SEZ unit. Then section 16, that is standard deduction of 50,000 which was given in the previous Finance Act is now not allowed. Then what was the purpose of giving it earlier? Section 16 standard deduction is also not allowed from now onwards. Then additional depreciation is also not allowed. Additional depreciation under section 32(1)(2)(a) is not allowed. Then the 32AD, 33AB and 33ABA are also not allowed. Then moreover, the scientific research sections, the scientific research sections under section 35, that is section 35(2)(a), section 35 1 2 2A and 3, all these are not allowed from now onwards. Then the 12th one is section 35AD, 35CCC is not allowed. Then the 13th one is the allowances for family pension, that is section 57(2)A is not allowed. Then the last point is all the chapter 6A deductions. Note it over here, the 14th point is very important. All the chapter 6A deductions except ATCCD, that is the NPS, and ATJJAA, that is the expenses incurred for increase in the employees, expenses incurred on behalf of their salaries and all those things, that is ATJJAA and ATCCD. So all the chapter 6A deductions like ATC, ATD are not allowed from now onwards, and various other sections. Only which are allowed is ATCCD and ATJJAA. So these are all the exemptions which are not allowed. These are all the exemptions which are not allowed under section 115 BAC. Then the D. What is D? Now over here, depreciation will be allowed. Depreciation will be allowed except additional depreciation, which is given over here. Except additional depreciation, that is except 32(1)(2)A, except section 32(1)(2)A. So note over here, the following are the conditions which can be abbreviated as PLED, pled. Now P stands for no perquisites and allowances will be allowed as deduction. L stands for no set off of carry forward losses of the previous year and no set off of depreciation of the previous year which are related to those deductions, which are related to the deductions which are given over here. All these deductions will not be allowed, uh, which are relating to those deductions which are not allowed under total income while computing the total income under section 115 BAC. And also no set off of losses under the head house property with any head of income. That means from now onwards, house property will be allowed to be set off. Losses under the head house property will be allowed to be set off only against income under the head house property. Now, to be noted over here, there is an important point: interest on loan for house property, self-occupied property and rental property. If there is a loss under self-occupied property, it can be set off only against house property. However, it cannot be carried forward. It cannot be carried forward. However, if there is a loss in rental property, it can be set off only against house property, and also it can be carried forward to the next years, wherein it will be allowed only to be set off against house property income. Then E stands for no exemptions and deductions. The following are the exemptions and deductions which are not allowed. The first one is no interest on loan of self-occupied and vacant land. Section 10(5), that is LTA, is not allowed. HRA is not allowed. All other allowances except TA, DA, CA and allowances for the purpose of business. MPs, MLAs allowances not allowed. Allowances for income of minor not allowed. SEZ benefit under section 10AA not allowed. Standard deduction not allowed. Additional depreciation under section 32(1)(2)A not allowed. 32AD, 33AB and 33ABA not allowed. Scientific research sections, that is 35(2)AA, 35(1)(2)(2)A and 3 is also not allowed. 35AD, the investment things, 35CCC is not allowed. Section 57(2)A, that is the family pension allowances, not allowed. Section, all the chapter 6A deductions, that is 80C, 80D are not allowed, and the various list of deductions under section under chapter 6A are not allowed, except only two deductions are allowed: 80CCD and 80JJAA. So it has to be noted that these following are the conditions which are to be satisfied in order to claim the benefit of section 115 BAC. So this video is specifically on the conditions which are to be satisfied for claiming the benefit of section 115 BAC. What are the other details which are given in section 115 BAC will be discussed in the next video. Thank you.